Hello everyone, let's begin. I hope you see me, I hope you hear me. If something is wrong, let me know. So, today we will talk about software development and specifically web development. So, when I was younger, when I was studying in the university, I had a question to myself. I've spent several years learning C++, Python, Java, databases, math. How can all this knowledge help me to earn money? I did some projects for the university for my friends. Sometimes I freelanced, but I always had feeling that working in big tech companies is so much more complicated than doing my pet projects alone. So when I applied to my first job, and it's easy when you have a tech background, I realized that it's not complicated. It's just more complex. You need to do so many steps to launch the product. More steps means more people involved. Every person is responsible for his specific area. And the most important, at the beginning of their path, everyone was like me, having that question, how it works, how all these processes works. So today I have 30 minutes, or a bit more, to tell you what exactly to expect from your first job in a tech company as a developer. I will be biased towards the web development because that's my main area of interest. Later on, my mate from the quality assurance chapter will make an introduction for those who are interested in testing software rather than creating it. By the way, you are a double winner if you know how to create software and how to test it, because these two stages are closely related. Let's see what I mean by web development. Yeah, at Axon, where I work, we do really complex apps. We do them from scratch using open source stack. For example, Java and JavaScript and all the frameworks um, in that ecosystem like Java Spring, React, and so on. So the first example is a cryptocurrency app we developed for almost 2 years, and it successfully launched to the production. The second case is an agribusiness simulator for training, simulating the business process of agricultural production. So it's a game, a web game. And the third example, it's a recruitment platform that makes it easy to process and hire candidates. So when you're a candidate and you apply for a job to Axon, you have been added to this platform and processed in it. So that's what I mean by the web application. Today, I do mostly front-end things. There were times when I believed that it's possible to know everything and be responsible for every part of development, but now I don't believe in it. Each year, the complexity, the number of tools, the community size grows non-linearly. So if you don't focus, you don't move forward. That's why at this moment of my life, I first of all do some research and development, and second, I build the team of professionals. I hire them, I educate them, yeah, I work with them on the same projects and make sure that everyone is happy and everyone knows the tools he needs to use to accomplish his job. So let's start with what is a web software development. I already shown you some examples of websites. So actually, web development is a huge industry. All world's businesses right now are either digital or they are transforming to be digital. Maybe you've heard the terms Web 2.0 and Web 3.0. That's often heard in IT communities. And in the current second generation, the data is mostly stored in so-called centralized repositories or databases. It's all about user-generated content, social media, video sharing. That's the era that we have now. We are living in the Web 2.0 right now. But the Web 3.0 In it, the data will be interconnected and decentralized. So it means that soon, in a couple of years or maybe 5 years, it won't be enough to be a good expert in just building user interfaces. You will have to know such things as artificial intelligence and blockchain to be at the forefront of the web industry. So this is how difficult will be a front-end developer or web developer in the future. So one part of being successful engineer, successful developer is to know, first of all, foundation like math, algorithms, data structures. The second is tool. A tool is a framework, a programming language. And the third part is domain knowledge. Domain is like marketing, social media, insurance, video, hosting, and so on. The other part is all about soft skills, a teamwork. Building a software is more than coding. That's the title of my presentation says. So wise men say, if you want to go fast, you should go alone. But if you want to go far, go together. Because only together you can release a startup in a couple of months. Only together you can feel happiness when being valuable to the team. Only together you can learn by example of the experts. So once again, it's more than just coding. It's understanding people's psychology. It's about sharing knowledge and be a responsible person. That's the most important. Then, how does web development differ from other industries? First of all, when you tell your grandma that you are a programmer, she can exclaim, "Oh, you're a scientist." No, you don't do science most of the time. When developing a new web application, we are often not inventing new things. Almost everything was invented before and implemented many times by many other teams all over the world. So you can consider developers to be more like children who have some Lego pieces mixed up from different sets. And you can build a requested feature, a website, a web app, using different pieces from different sets. And any working result will satisfy the client. And till it works, it often doesn't matter how it is structured inside. Then, how is web development differs from other industries, from other kinds of development? First of all, web development is overpopulated. We have thousands of new tools, libraries, ideas that appear every day. Then, web development is everywhere. So the demand for good specialists is much higher than their availability right now. Is, I believe, twice more. We have twice more demand than availability, and it implies that if you master the foundation, if you can consider yourself as a non-toxic person with good soft skills, the chances to get your first job are very, very high. And the last but not the least, we have work from home. Uh, for web developers, in the whole world, it mostly doesn't matter where you are located. For example, we have so many teams where some people likes going to office, some have a comfortable home setup, and any of them can work from different countries, from different cities. Ukraine, Georgia, doesn't matter. It's really possible in the modern web development world. The next, I would like to tell you some words about the software development life cycle. Such a long word, but it's really simple. So it's all about how software is developed. Yeah, we have a circle. Why is it a circle? Because there is no finished software in the world. Every software, every website is never finished. There is always a person who says, I want this new feature, and the team starts building that feature. So it's closed circle. The team size that develops software really varies. So it's always different. For example, small startups, small companies can start with a couple of co-founders who are experts in their domain areas and a couple of developers. Yeah, when a project is initiated from established companies, from big companies, it can start with a full team consisting product owner, managers, analysts, developers, testers, designers, scientists, DevOps, architects, and so on. Moreover, there are positions that are not directly involved into the specific project development. I mean, they support different teams inside the one company. For example, CTO, director of engineering, chapter lead, programming manager. A person who gains this position, he can support multiple teams. So it's like cross-team engineer. Then, building a solid product isn't really possible without good management practices. Yeah, so we separate engineers who write code, who test it, who create a design, and management. Very often, engineers forget that they're the part of the team, and the team has a single goal to make a product succeed. And the manager's work is to glue the steps of the software development lifecycle together. These 6 steps, we need to glue them together so everyone works like a single piece of team. Yeah, and it's a complex process. And without good management, with poor management, the chances to succeed are really low. That's why every project should have a manager. And now let's quickly move through the positions you can often meet when working in a software company. Note that the responsibilities of a specific position differ from company to company or even different projects inside the same company. So who is a project manager? It's a person who manages scope, budget, delivery, who tracks progress and makes stakeholders happy. Like a supervisor, his goal is to make everyone happy and to meet deadlines, yeah, and to glue all the steps together. Then we have a business analyst. He transforms clients' needs to tasks that the team understands, because often the client's requirements are very, very high level, and it's not easy for everyone to understand the idea, the goal of the tasks that we need to do, the projects that we need to implement. That's why we have a business analyst. Then architect. It's a person who transforms the requirements prepared by business analyst into the technical terms. So it's like a middleman between the business and the tech. He describes subsystems, he creates diagrams, he makes connections between subsystems, and so on. Then we can have a tech lead. Tech lead is a person who is like the main person who curates all the technical stuff on the project. He picks technologies, he ensures that the code quality is high, he provides some education for the development team. We also can have a team lead. A team lead can be a non-technical person, but often he is a technical person, and he provides the leadership. So it's like a person who leads the whole team, and everyone ideally should like him, yeah, should follow him, and have a strict direction where to move. Then we can have an engineering manager. It's a rare position, and it combines pieces from different other positions. So he can describe and he can make high-level architectural decisions. He can distribute tasks, but project manager can do it as well, and team lead can do it. Yeah, and that's the main person who really understands the business, except the client. Yeah, we have a client with his idea, and we have a manager on our side, and he should understand the business too. We can also have a delivery manager. So he facilitates the timely production. If we have a deadline, we need to make sure that the software will be released on time, not earlier or not in the future, like missing deadlines.
Okay guys, hello. We have some technical issues on Vlad's side. Let me know in chat if you can hear me well, if you can see the presentation. Hey guys, hello. Okay, I think you can hear me well. Let's start my part, and maybe after my presentation Vlad will continue to his one. My name is Artem Stupko, and I'm head of QA in Axon, and today I'm going to talk with you about QA job, roles and responsibilities. I will try to make a high-level overview of this profession and give you an understanding of what you will face with in case if you decide to become a quality assurance engineer. I want to start this discussion from some myths about QA engineers. I believe that some of them you have already heard, and here is several of them. Testing is easy as a pie. QA engineer is just a bug hunter. QA specialist is a failed software developer. Let's talk a little bit about it. It helps us to understand what we are doing as a QA engineers and who we are in effect. Myth number one. You can hear phrases like, anyone can do it, you don't need any special education, manual testing is just a monkey clicking and other. Some people actually think testing is one of the easiest part of the software development lifecycle. A lot of people think that manual testing means randomly clicking different parts of the application and exclaiming "Yoo-hoo!" when finding any possible issues. People think that quality assurance is easy because it does not require a lot of technical skills. Actually, good quality assurance engineers have lots of knowledge both of quality standards and products they are testing. Testing also requires knowledge of coding, version control, databases, different testing tools, user experience, and other. Also, a good quality engineer understands the logic of product and know inside and out. Most likely, a QA engineer will get many questions from software developers who know only a small part of the project functionalities. QA knows all functionalities in the project, how it's currently working and how it should work. It's a big difference. Of course, it depends on the product. Some products so big that whole team works only a small part of the product, and QA should know everything about this part. But first of all, software testing requires patience, and not everyone can excel in it. Here are some responsibilities of the average QA engineer during a workday. Planning, creating test scenarios, analyzing, reviewing, executing tests, expecting, reporting, prioritizing, access risks, finding root causes, suggestion improvements, retesting, etc. And this is yet a short list of our duties. Also, there is a misconception that QA is a good trampoline to jump into IT sphere easily. It's not the case. Maybe you can enter this field more quickly, but to get higher, you need to be a good specialist. Otherwise, you just stuck in the entrance. I think I think now you can see that QA is not really easy. Okay, let's move on. Second myth, that QA engineer is just a bug hunter. QA engineers are not just people who find defects before the end users. As any other specialist and user, we also hate bugs. We are not happy when find them, but what we do love is to prevent bugs, control them, and make sure they are found and safely fixed. We don't have any resistance against the bugs. That's why we sleep not very well if know that application is not properly tested. Nowadays, when we say QA engineer, for most of people it's equal to tester. But there is a difference between the tester and quality assurance engineer. They have different focus, orientation, activity type, and aim. Here we have to understand that testing is a small part of the quality assurance. QA specialization comprises many functions, so there are certain sub-specialization, and software testing is only one of them. The tester is responsible for finding bugs, as many as possible. QA specialist, on the other hand, is responsible for planning how to prevent issues, how to find issues more efficiently, how to make they are fixed successfully and not affect the other parts of the application, how to raise the quality knowledge of the other team members, and how to improve quality beyond excluding system defects. Testing is a process of system exploration and defect finding, while quality assurance is about ensuring good customer experience. Yes, we do hunting, but it's just teeny part of our job and responsibilities. Similarly, we don't assume that business analysts are just story writers or developers are just coding guys. One more thing that I want to mention here is that quality assurance engineer and developers are not enemies. Many people think that yes, we are. You have to understand that we are on the same boat. Quality is a whole team responsibility, and it's impossible to be reached without a developer, project manager, support team, and others. Myth number 3. QA specialist is a failed software developer. It is one of the most annoying myths about QAs. I also was asked questions, why are you still a QA engineer if you have technical background? Didn't you think to become a developer? Are you not bored being a QA engineer? And others. On interviews, when I asked candidates about their future career plans, I could hear answers like, I'm going to become a front-end, back-end developer in a year or two, or something like this. But the truth is, it is a wasting of time. If you are going to be a developer and you know that you want, just move your legs and minds in this direction. It is a different jobs with different skill sets. Being a QA is not about being someone else. It's about being a QA engineer, doing what you love. To be honest, I can't remember any of my ex-colleagues who was a QA and then switched to developers. Such kind of switching of course exists, but it is not the best way to start the developer career. Just believe me. Developer loves to create structure. QAs loves to challenge the structure. You can be technically skilled and yet love explore and challenge the system. Software development is not the logical sequel to testing. QA engineer has another mindset than a developer. Even test automation is part of the challenging the existing system rather than building a new one. QA engineer with a developer mindset can easily fail at testing, ignoring negative test cases and just making sure that the system behaves as required. For example, if you want to check it, just ask a developer to test simple things like carp or pencil and then compare answer with this list of, for example. As you can see, it's pretty big, yeah? I think you will be surprised how different they are. A QA engineer will perform different type and techniques of testing. He will check functional part, user interface part, positive and negative scenarios, how it works under different conditions, including security, performance, and integration testing. A QA engineer will try to use pencil under different roles, under different user roles. QA always has a lot of questions, even for the simple things. And I'm not talking that someone is better or worse than another. I'm just talking that we are different. I mean QA and developer. Okay, let's talk about workday of the QA specialist. When people think of this who works as a QA engineer, they probably imagine the person who's sitting in front of the computer all day and doing the same repetitive tasks over and over and over again. Each day in the life of QA engineer is different, and being a QA means you never stop learning. There is no one answer to question about common work day of QA. It highly depends on the company, project, particular role on this project, experience of the specialist, and others. Typically, workday of QA specialist in our company can be divided to separate parts. Meetings. We have a lot of meetings during a day. Daily stand-ups, groomings, communication with developers and QA team, perform demo session, and other. Next part of the work is testing. Yeah, we have to write test cases. Then we have to execute these tests, discover bugs and retest them, and develop of automated test in case if you are on the automation QA position. The next part of our duties is like common project activities. We have to gather requirement specification, learn their requirements and their clarification with the customer or business analyst, gather metrics. It depends on the project needs. Actualization, the bug reporting, the bug tracking system, writing test documentation, and other. For being to expect to play an important role, and don't be surprised when your role expands beyond and into additional responsibilities. It's just a part of what it means to be a QA engineer today. Okay, let's talk about advantages and disadvantages. Here is a list of advantages. High demand on QA specialist. Many IT companies currently have various vacancies in this field. It's a plus. It should not be very difficult to get your first job if you have a good theoretical background. Competitive salaries. The job of the software testing is highly rewarding as you get promoted to higher posts as you gain more experience. Safe. For future scope of this job is constantly increasing, so the career will be secure and growing. Career opportunity. There is a variety of growth opportunities. We will talk about it in a couple of minutes. Continuous professional development. QA is a constantly evolving field. You have to learn new tools and literature regularly, so you will not get bored. To meet the requirements of employers, you need to constantly improve your competence. Yeah? Disadvantages. Monotone. This is a main disadvantages of the profession. The jobs demands a lot of hard work. The work may become monotonous at times, especially at the beginning of the career. But as we know, the experienced you are, the more responsibilities you have, the more interesting your job. One more thing, you have to love it. Yeah. The job may seem difficult or complicated in case of lack of interest, so one cannot excel until he is passionate about this field. That's what I can say about advantages and disadvantages of this profession. Let's move on. And now I will give you some advices and understanding what you have to know to become a QA specialist. As you know, you can see that quality engineers are not trained at universities. Future QAs get knowledge at specialized courses or study on their own. To become a QA, you need to understand the software development lifecycle, study theory, know testing tools, there are a lot of them, and have a good level of English. Basic knowledge of testing theory means the ability to answer questions like what is testing and what is for. For example, what types of testing exist? What is a bug and what its life cycle? What documentation is used during testing? You have to read books, articles, forums on software testing. This will allow you to do your job better and move faster along their career ladder. QAs are responsible for improving the quality of the development process, and therefore they should have some skills borrowed from other team members. For example, from developer, it's understanding of the technical limitations of the implementation of certain functions in the application, and at least a high level understanding of code. From business analyst, understanding of the market and the target audience. From PM, for example, understanding the integrity of all parts of the project. You also need the ability to look at the product from the perspective of end user. And one very important thing for QAs is soft skills. QA should be able to communicate. The quality of communication in the development team directly affects the quality of the software. Be attentive to details, responsible, systematic thinking. Systematic thinker takes a complex approach to QA processes. Have a critical mindset, aim to find errors. A QA specialist should be curious and question task requirements and logical contradictions. All these skills will help you to become a QA specialist. And one more thing that you have to remember is that the practice is the best teacher. The last part of this presentation is career prospects. Most people think of future prospects when choosing a career path. Typically, a QA career starts from the trainee position. Then, when you get enough practical experience, you will be promoted to a junior QA, then to a middle, then to a senior, then to the QA team lead. then QA manager, and then head of QA department. On each level, you will have more responsibilities, and you will change and grow and growth. Yeah. And if you are interested in, for example, automation, security, performance testing, and want to know what a QA engineer does on these positions, there is an option to dive deeper into it, increase your experience, and move along this direction. It requires, of course, more technical knowledge. Also, you can change your qualification to a business analyst, for example, because you know product good, project manager, you know all processes, yeah, or developer. And as we talk about, it is a rare case, but still this option is really present, yeah. You just need to have a suitable mindset, desire, and be ready for this role. For example, in Axon, we are open to employee desires and do our best to make employees happy with their work-life balance. Everything is possible. That's all for today. Thank you for your attention and time. If you have any question, please write them just in the comments. Okay, I think we can continue with Vlad presentation, and he will connect in a minute, I believe. Thank you, guys. Have a nice evening.
Hey everyone, I need to make sure that I'm running. I'm very sorry for that situation because my internet simply dropped and I had no signs of that. So I just ran the ping command to know if it drops again. Please let me know if it works now. Okay, super. So we finished here. We have 10 more slides, and let's say it's part 2. Yeah, so we're finished with the common roles, and I have a bunch of other common roles. And I also hope that you enjoyed the Artem's presentation. Yeah. So we say that we have developers. You know that role. So the developer is someone who plans, delivers features. He makes code, high quality code, and maintains the code base. You know that position. So QA engineer, no comments. You have just heard who is a QA engineer. The designer, it's a person who creates page layouts and a design system. So what is a design system? It's like a set of fonts, colors, different components, composed components, yeah. And we front-end developers, we use them. We often communicate to designers to get page layouts. And they are often experts in both user interfaces and user experience. It's like two different things. The user interface is about how things look like, and the user experience is about how do things behave, where they are placed on the page, and so on. So the tech writer is a person who maintains the project documentation. Um, you can think of it if we have a huge project and if it's not documented and no one knows how to use its full power, then we have trouble. Yeah, and DevOps. DevOps stands for development and operations. So he helps the team to shorten the development lifecycle, like to set up a continuous integration, continuous delivery. What is it? When we push code to the repository, when we when we push it, when we make a pull request, the code is automatically delivered to the environment, and we can see the result. That's what DevOps can do. Um, yeah, the life of a project from its beginning. I'm actually telling all this for the second time because in the parallel universe, I already finished my presentation. Okay, so when the project begins, it begins with a project proposal and the project plan. These are two uh, documents written in human readable language, and they describe the goal of the project, its idea, its costs, resources, who is responsible for what part, yeah, like positions and roles. And these documents are prepared by the project manager. And after the handover, it's like passing the idea to the team, the development can start. And the most common approach for delivering a project is Scrum. Explanation of Scrum will take much more time than I have, so let's focus on the developer's point of view. We have weekly sprints. It can be 1, 2, 3 weeks, during which the given set of tasks should be completed and also demonstrated to the client. It's like we do features, we come to the client and we say, hey, it's done, please take a look how good it is. Then the developer do analysis and estimation and sometimes brainstorming. So how it works. Um, we meet together in a room or in online room and we sit, read the tasks and try to give an estimate. Yeah, we try to discuss all the hidden parts of the tasks that are not described because often people forget to describe how it should behave. Yeah, and we make an estimation in hours. How many hours will it take? Next, when the development starts, we go and plan, we go and create architecture. It can be done in different online tools or just with a pen and a piece of paper. Um, when we're done with the planning, we go to the implementation. We write code. We review code written by other persons, other developers in your team. And when we are done with it, we need to test it. Tom already said what is testing, but as developers, we also need to test our work. We need to make sure that all the task requirements are done, that the app really runs and doesn't crash. That's what I mean by testing. And the last thing that we do is we work with Git, which is um, version control system. We make features, we make releases, we make hot fixes. Hot fix is like a bug fix when we notice there is a bug in production and we need to fix it as soon as possible. We make a hot fix. Um, then, regardless of your area of development, let it be backend, front-end, mobile, developers from all over the world do the similar ritual of practices. So they analyze the requirements, they create mental models in their heads, they write code, they test their code, they test their work, collaborate with the colleagues. For example, if you are a front-end developer, you need to go and talk with the backend dev, with designer, with project manager, with business analyst. If you don't understand something, that's what I mean by collaboration. Um, then the most important here is provide expertise. So if you are a simple coder and you know how to use your programming language, it's not enough. You should be an expert. For example, mm, consider there is a person, a front-end developer, and he's an expert in the user experience. He knows how to place all the components on the page properly so it's convenient to use. Then he knows how to write code. He knows about different patterns, principles. He knows how to write maintainable code. So we can say he's an expert in coding. Yeah, but at the same time, he can be not an expert in things like markup development. So all those things like HTML, animations, styling things, they are really difficult sometimes. So no one should be an expert in everything. You can be a specific expert. Then learning something new continuously. If you don't learn, if you some time ago learned a framework and you use it for 2 years, constantly, it doesn't work. You need to expand your knowledge. You need to know more tools, more patterns, because even if you don't use them, they shift your mind and you think about different things differently. Wow. Um, then that was about the hard skills. Yeah, and then we have something else. Our job is stressful sometimes or often, I don't know. So you should choose your work like this. If you don't like it, don't choose it. So do things that you really enjoy to do. You should feel happy when you finish a task and you feel you are valuable. So if you don't feel it, if it's work, you don't like it, you wake up every day saying, "Oh, it's work again. I don't want to," then maybe something is wrong, and you need to make some changes. Then have a proper rest. If you are a student, for example, you can study and work at the same time, and it's not good. You don't have mm, like another ways to live, to survive, but working for 8 hours straight and then studying for 8 hours straight, it's very stressful for your organism, and you need to have a rest and sleep well. And then don't forget to make physical exercises and maybe psychological exercises like meditation. They are really important because they help you to stay fresh. When you wake up and you do some physical exercise and you feel an energy, you are really fresh and you are ready to conquer the world. Then let's talk about the career prospects. What is career prospect? For example, you are a junior developer or middle, and you have a promotion to the next level, next step. It means more responsibilities. So there is some gradation, like junior, middle, senior, and above. In every company, it's different. For example, in one company, you can be considered a senior, but when you switch to another company, which is big, well known, you can be a junior in it. So at some point in your professional life, there will be a moment when you have to choose. You have a road with two ways. The first road is to switch your professional expertise. Yeah, you can switch to the managerial position or the leadership position. When people choose it, when they feel that don't they stopped like coding, they like brain is really overwhelmed with all those tools, instruments, frameworks, and they want to change something, but they don't want to change the domain. They stay in the IT, in the tech company, but they become leaders, managers, and other positions. And another way, which is more frequent, is to continue his path to go senior and beyond, like become a tech lead, become an architect, become a CTO. If you ask who is a CTO, is a Chief Technology Officer, is like a person who knows everything about the technologies that the company uses, and he helps to sell it to the external clients. So it's like a person who is really strong engineer who communicates with external people from outside of the company. Um, then some may ask, and I asked some time ago, is the job that I do, is it difficult? Yes and no. There are two roads again. It's mainstream coding and it's computer science or creating something new. So mainstream coding is the most popular, of course. Almost 99% of developers are doing it. It's like web development. When you have a set of tools, you have Lego pieces, and you match them together. You build a software using existing tools, and you build software for users. But when you master it and it becomes boring, for example, no one likes to do the same websites for 10 years in a row. You want to go further and you switch your direction. Now you can become a scientist. Yeah, and instead of doing things for people, you can do things for developers, yeah, or for scientists. It's really complex, it's endless because it's science, it never ends, it's unknown, and it also changes the way you think about the world. So someday we'll try it. Some tips for those who are looking for them. Um, if I were you, if I were at university on the second year, I'd be happy to hear tips like this. So first of all, learn English. It's a language of communication that the whole world uses. You will become really more valuable when you know English. You can talk with your colleagues, teammates from other countries. You can talk to me with English, yeah, but English is not your um, primary language. You can talk to your clients, customers. You can hear them. So it directly implies the money you can earn. Then be T-shape. What does it mean to be T-shape? When you imagine a letter T, it has a long stick, yeah, and sides which are short. So being T-shape is like mastering one thing at a time, but be aware of the whole ecosystem. For example, you're a front-end developer and you can master a single framework, but at the same time, you can learn ideas from other frameworks. And when you learn it, you are more flexible. You can create innovative solutions. You're not struggling when you have a complex problem. But unfortunately, it's not possible to master everything at the same time. That's why we have a letter T. Then, if you are a student or just a novice developer, start with tools and skills that bring you money. I mean, find and learn the most popular framework. Just Google it, like backend roadmap, front-end roadmap. You will see uh, the tools you need to learn. Start with them. Trust the people who create them, yeah, who uses them. Um, this way, you will be able to earn your first money, like to have some first experience. And while you're having this experience, you can continue your education, of course, mastering the language and the foundations. So like have a pyramid where at the top we have a framework, then we have a language, and then we have foundations, and you go from top to bottom. Um, then read books. I say books, not articles, courses, because articles they're often written by people who you don't know. You don't have trust to them. They are not like authority persons. So read books written by well-known engineers, like language creators, maybe framework creators or scientists. So every minute of spent on self-education will be rewarded in future. And the earlier you start, the quicker you will gain that reward. And the last point, meet people who inspire you. Regardless of the company size, if it is 10 people, 100 people or more, if you don't feel that you like the persons to which you talk, which you communicate, if you are being interviewed and you don't like the atmosphere, choose another job, another team. So you should only work with the people who inspire you, from whom you can learn something new ideas. That's what I mean. The last slide for today is about keys to success. That's my personal idea. I believe that passion, which means to love what you do, to be happy with it, continuous learning, and discipline, which is the most complex, like keeping balance between having a rest and being productive, are the main driving goals. And Lewis Carroll said, it's an author from of Alice in Wonderland. He said that to go anywhere, you must run twice as fast as now. So if you're just running, simply running, you will stay at the same place, and to grow, to be promoted, so on, you need to run twice as fast. Don't apply this idea too often, but it's really worth it. And now, thank you everyone. It was a real pleasure to make this presentation for you. I'm sorry for that technical problem in the middle. I think it's not a problem. So if you have some questions, if my internet didn't drop one more time and I finished it, please leave your questions and I will read them. But if you have some long questions, you want to collaborate with me or with my company, Axon, so put me a letter on my email. Thank you once again. I'm opening the comments. Okay, it seems that we don't have any comments, so thank you everyone. I don't know, maybe it's delay and I can't read them, but I'll be happy if you send me an email. Was glad to see you, and bye bye.